Hello, and welcome back to The Coco Show, hosted by myself, Colette Creighton, and my co-host, David Schwartz. This is a show where the banter at the top of the episode never ends, and neurodivergent or not, we are here to make you feel less alone about your human experience. We have no expectations, and neither should you.
You are listening to a gay fucking episode of
The Coco Show. Today, our darling friend Matthew Jem is here with us in studio chatting about fashion and mental health, and we are so excited to have you here with us.
Fashion and mental health.
Yes.
That sounds cunty.
Sure is, bitch.
He really is a gem, huh?
You are a gem. Let me introduce you before we get any further. He is a magnificent artistic director, producer, fashionista, stylist, and to top it all off, a kick-ass bartender. After mentioning all of this, I'm sure none of you are shocked to find that we met this delicious human at Supernova. He is an artistic director of The Beauty Boys, a queer collective nonprofit organization in Seattle. And Matthew, your personality and energy is honestly the most beautiful thing about you, even though you're so fucking hot. But your personality is just mwah. And I felt instantly connected to you when we met.
Thank you.
And I just think you're such a fucking delight, and we wanted to share with you with our dear listeners. So without further ado, Matthew Jem.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, Colette, for that beautiful introduction.
Yeah.
It's been like a beautiful storm since we met.
Yes.
Like, we just entered each other's lives, and look out, world.
Yep.
I'm on the Coco Show. What's next? Seriously, it's been awesome.
Yeah. Who knows? I have that one idea I was telling you about. We won't say it online, on air. Anyway.
Matthew, what are your pronouns, by the way?
I use he, him. I'm like, I would say I'm a boy who loves to be feminine.
Love.
But I'm a boy.
I just wasn't
for
sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that's a really important question right now. And I think it's important that everybody be like comfortable answering that.
Yeah.
And not, taking offense to it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
of course,
a genuine question.
That's a journey, of course.
Of
but
course.
yeah, I mean, the goal is to just be comfortable answering that and telling everyone, yeah, this is who I am. And this is how you can refer to me.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into the weeds, we always got to do our ye fucking haws and our hyperfixations of the week.
Yes.
So I'm going to kick us off. My ye fucking haw is that we booked a trip to Mexico for my birthday.
Where in Mexico?
Cabo.
Cabo. I haven't been there.
Well, so my husband is a brat and he doesn't like to leave the country.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, Dan, sure, let's go to Puerto Rico. But like on the map, it's all the way over here. And he's like, I'm a big man. I don't want to be on an airplane with my long legs for 1,000,000 hours.
Valid.
Fair, reasonable. We don't have PJ money, so I understand why he doesn't want to fly across the country.
Who's PJ?
Private jet.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, duh. Keep up,
Yeah,
David.
keep up, bitch. Anyways, so he decided, like on Saturday night, we were on a date. We went to Tokyo Steakhouse. Nothing says I'm having a good time like an onion volcano.
Class. True. I mean, seriously, make it seem like make my skin sticky afterward.
Yeah, I want to be a little scared.
You know?
Yeah. Anyway, so the point of this is Dan was like, let's go to Cabo. Let's try Cabo again. And I'm like, I know it's just because this flight is nonstop. And it feels less like upsetting to him leaving the country if you don't have to also be in a secondary airport, which I don't disagree with.
Layovers.
The worst.
Awful.
Stress. No matter what, I'm going to need 2 Xanax when I get to my flight destination.
I thought you were going to say 2 hours. I was going to agree with that. But 2 Xanax, I agree with that more.
No, so here's the protocol. If you're ever flying with Coco, I like to get to the airport. If we're going somewhere international, we need 3 hours. If we're staying local-ish, we need 2.
Okay.
We have to get to the gate. We have to see the gate first. I have to
walk to the gate just to make sure it's still there.
Yeah. I
It's
got
true.
make eye contact with the sign. And
but that
Touch the
can save
carpet.
your ass too, because you'll get up there and like your gate will have changed and
That's
your
right,
ticket
bitch.
won't have updated.
that's
but
right.
Go to the gate, y'all.
That's so true. And they have this look
Anxiety.
on their face like you should already know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not a wizard, bitch. Anyway, so then we go visualize. Then you go pee again, and then you go get food, and then you come back to the gate and you reward yourself with Ativan.
Yeah.
And that is the cocktail to not having a panic attack at the airport. Thank you.
Yeah. That sounds and eliminating the stress of time.
Yep.
Because time in an airport is awful.
See,
And
I
it's
just get clear, so
I had
that is my 2 hours early to the airport
I
right there.
had that for a little bit, and it really actually was
It's
worth
fabulous, yeah.
it.
If I
quit
flew
it, though.
Absolutely no regrets on
I
that.
suck at subscriptions, so I was like, I'm gonna
It's
quit.
like $100 a year. It's like not expensive.
That is
There was a
expensive.
year where it made it worth. There
might
was a
be
year
more
where
than
I was
that,
like,
but-
oh, I'm gonna do a bunch of flights. I'm gonna sign up for that, and then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be traveling for a little bit.
Kills me when you go to an airport that doesn't have it. It's just like
Oh shit.
I have TSA pre-check, and I feel the same way.
that's
I'm
better
like,
though.
oh, I'm just with you.
Yeah,
Mm.
I have to go in the regular.
But then
line.
they give you a
the
little piece
norms.
of paper. They give you a little piece of paper, and then you're like, still not taking my shoes off or my liquids, bitch. Like you're like,
Like I'm doing everyone a favor.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like, here's my note.
Yeah. Here's my hall pass.
It's literally.
I go to the gate
I wear the
free,
same
right?
Adidas pants like every day, and I wear them specifically to the airport.
Yeah.
And
So you can rip them off.
no, because they're just like my airport pants. They're just very comfortable.
Oh, sure.
But every single time, without fail, the pockets show up on the little scanner. So like I walk out and I instantly just pull them, and they're like, "Oh, can you put your things back?" And I'm like, "But you're just gonna ask me to." Anyway, terrible side story.
Damned if you do and damned if you
Damned
don't,
if
right?
you do. Damned
You
if
should
don't.
next
Thank
time you should just
No,
rip the
dude.
pants off.
They're
and
not that. They're not like ammo pants. I
Oh.
can't just like. Actually,
Ammo
his
pants.
don't do that. I don't think. The ones with the buttons.
Oh, that's what you mean. I was like, is that what they're called? The pants that just.
No, Andy Schneider and ammo. Yes.
Bless him.
God
So
bless.
Cabo. You're going to Cabo.
Yeah. It's a long story
Lucky.
short.
Aren't we in Cabo right now?
7 minutes
Does
later.
feel like it. This
like-
color lighting is like, yeah.
Wow, we still have not done.
We're listen.
Yeah, sorry, I keep.
Thank
It's-
God for editing.
Yeah,
Editing.
editing, or this just ends up being a 2-parter.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only 8 minutes in. Let's.
Bless.
Yeah. Regardless,
We're fine.
we're having a good time, and that's really what matters here.
Thanks.
And then my other ye fucking cause, I went to my first ever live podcast a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Watch What Crappens with Ben and Ronnie. I don't know if you're a Bravo girl.
I knew that question was going to come up, and I just had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not.
That's fine. That's fine. You, if you are, great. We'll gab for hours. If you're not, that's cool. There are 1,000 other things that I can talk about, so no issues here. But anyway, so we got to meet them. And it was so much fun. We paid for the meet and greet, and all it is they hug you, and you hug them, and then you get pictures.
When was this?
That's fierce.
Thursday before the weekend that I stayed here.
Oh, this was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, you did that this week?
No.
How am I just
No,
hearing about
I'm
this?
just still excited about it.
Oh,
Fair enough.
And Ronnie told me
ye fucking hot.
Yeah, Ronnie told me I was the cutest thing he'd ever seen.
Oh.
I don't know if that's just one of his lines, but it seems sincere.
It better have
Thanks,
been.
Ronnie. I
Yeah.
love him. And you look great, by the way, if you're listening. I hope you are.
He will be.
I do be acting like they're going to, but if you do, I love you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then hyperfixations. I'm just going to say it was Mexico because within 4 hours, it went from idea to I booked everything.
You manifested
Yeah,
that.
no. She's like, do you want to go to? I already bought the tickets. It's like, what? Okay.
Really, it
Oh.
was like, hey, I bought these tickets to Mexico. You want to go with me, right?
You want to come, right?
Yeah, I will consult.
And you
my
want to pay
schedule and let
for
you
it,
know.
right?
No, I put all that shit on my credit card. And then I'm still obsessed about Scandival. Again, Bravo. So,
Classic.
yes. Anyways, Dave.
Yeah. I'll start my hyperfixation this week.
Okay.
Which has definitely been the new PlayStation we got.
Gamer girl.
It's pretty nice. I gotta say, I was very hesitant to switch from Xbox to PlayStation, but it is a superior console.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, I will admit it finally. The
Why just one, though?
controllers are very, very fun and very interesting and very like what's the word? They provide a lot of detail just like in
They're
the
like
vibration.
ergonomic
It's
even.
wild.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're like next level now.
Are you a big gamer?
I'm getting there. I never
I've never
was
identified as a gamer.
Oh.
But like cuz I suck too much. I'm just terrible at video games.
Oh, see, me too.
So I couldn't be like I'm a gamer. No.
But I do enjoy it the way like
It's fun.
my boyfriend now, he's like a bigger gamer, so I've like been climbing the gaming ladder. And I'm getting better.
Fuck yeah.
I can play Diablo. I
Nice.
get some ass at Diablo actually.
Nice.
Cool.
I play Rocket League a lot.
Is that what you're playing on?
Not
video
right now.
games?
So I was gonna say the new Harry Potter game is
Oh, I've heard about that. That looks so fun.
unbelievable.
I would play that on anything,
It's
even if I did suck.
striking. It's like beautiful. It's like as cool as Harry Potter world is in real life because they brought that
That's-
shit into reality,
yeah.
and then it's like they just brought it into a new universe.
Didn't they create like essentially all of
Like, the
Hogwarts that
entire
you
world.
can explore?
It's like the entire world.
Oh, see,
of,
I would.
of wizardry.
I
I mean,
don't
it's,
even know what the game is, but that is
crazy.
the game.
I'll show you.
Essentially.
It's nuts.
Oh, that
and you can like
sounds so cool.
the hardest part is remembering like all the spells you have to cast. 'Cause you have to
Yeah.
like literally learn all these spells and then like, oh yeah, I need to. I mean, there's actually not that many. I do think that it caps out at a certain amount, and then you
Yeah.
like do other stuff and like level those things up.
Switch
but,
out your spells and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
But it's so much fun. It's really beautiful, and it's been like almost. It's cool. I haven't like actually. I've been playing a lot of Rocket League or things that are like one-off, like hockey, like a hockey game or something. So it's nice to actually play like a quest
Yeah.
game, like something choose your own adventure kind of thing.
And
Yeah.
something that's been so highly revered for so long. Everybody's been waiting for it. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I think it's surpassed my expectations. Actually,
oh, I bet.
it's pretty insane.
That's so cool.
Did you know that I've only ever seen the first movie?
Oh god.
Whoa.
We
I'm
literally talking about the
sensing a-
basilisk last week, and you didn't mention that. You knew that my childhood fear was the basilisk. You knew what the basilisk is, but you haven't seen that movie.
No.
All right, well, I know what we're doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like some plans are forming.
Yes, absolutely. We can skip the third one. Don't worry.
The third one, you can't skip any of them.
It's true.
No, you
The third's
can't.
my least favorite, though,
third
of the movies.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
That's how I
I-
feel.
I don't need
Number
boring.
4 is insane.
Yeah. Number
Anyway.
4 is great.
Maybe I've seen more than one of them.
If you've ever seen Freeform after 9 p.m., you've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
My ye fucking ha this week is that I had a really relaxing week, and I'm trying to just give myself the grace to not be overly productive and just enjoy some calm before the craziness of event season
Hell
that
yeah.
is on the horizon. So that is my ye fucking ha. I did a float session. Thank you and shout out
that's
to
cool.
Billy Thompson from C895, who hooked me up with that. That was so much fun. So check out I gotta get the name and I'll post it somewhere because it was awesome. But it was this like float tank experience, and like
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
it was
It's a little bit of like sensory deprivation as well, right?
It was wild. Like my senses felt kind of heightened the rest of the day. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
And
funny. They're like, we're going to deprave some of your senses, but you're like,
Yes.
no, they become finer tuned.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's cool.
a
I would
snake.
do it again. It was almost
Was
like
the water warm though? That's
it
my
was
biggest thing.
98.6 degrees, bitch. Like you're in the womb.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a.
It's like body temperature.
Okay, so it's
water.
comfortable.
It's
Okay,
comfortable.
cool.
No, it's lovely. I felt like I was in there for an eternity.
Oh, that sounds
I
nice.
kept being like, "Is it done yet?"
Like, how do I? You grab your phone. How do I refresh for another hour?
Yeah. It was wild, but super happy I did it, and yeah, just kind of.
How long was it?
Some chill sesh. It was half an hour, but I honestly thought
half
it was
an
an hour long.
Mm.
That's
I
cool.
really felt like I was in there forever. So,
Hmm.
yep, Matthew.
Time what a
Yeah.
You
concept.
fucking haws and hyperfixations.
Yeehaws. Okay, well, one ye fucking ha for me. I am now an uncle.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Mazel.
Woo. Yeah, it's our first family's baby.
Is this your brother or sister's child?
My older sister
Older sister.
just had a little babe.
Gunkle.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm expecting a Gunkle shirt soon, hopefully. Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. My mom is over the moon about it,
Cute.
of course, right? As any mom would. Grandma,
Grandma,
would be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
It's cool. It's gonna be fun. It's
Where do
like-
they live?
They live in Bellevue.
Oh, nice.
cool.
Yeah, so it'll be easy to be a part of the journey.
The gaggle.
Yeah.
My niece and nephew also live in Bellevue.
Nice.
that in
Yeah. My first time being an uncle, we have a pretty small family, so it's like all of us are
It's
like
fun.
really excited about
Yeah.
it. It's gonna be so
Cute.
cute. Yeah. And my hyperfixations, I could not pick between one.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
give us
as
all
a-
of them.
As a Gemini, I'm like, I struggle to pick one of anything.
Sure.
You know, it's got to be two at least. So I did narrow it down to two hyperfixations.
Gorgeous.
One of them being sunscreen.
Ooh.
It's like, you know, we're getting ready for summer and spring, and I have always been really into skincare. But I'm like, lately, I've just been like super focused on what sunscreen I'm going to get. And I think I've ordered 4 different sunscreens now, which, you know, it's one of those things. It's like once you open up the floodgates and you start doing your research,
Yeah.
it's just fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a person who loves a deal. So I'm like, ooh, a good product for like good price. Why not? I have 6. I need 7. But
Preaching to
yeah,
the choir.
sunscreen.
Coupons, baby.
Yeah,
Are you a mineral or chemical girl?
chemical.
Me too.
I have facial hair, so mineral does not work with me.
It makes me break
No.
out in cystic acne. It's so rude.
That is crazy, and I have actually heard that quite a bit. Regardless of the fact that they say that mineral is like more anti-inflammatory and it's better for sensitive skin, I don't
Not
find
this
that.
girl.
It's like comedogenic. It sits really heavily on your skin. It's not cosmetically elegant often. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be Flashback Mary.
or like the wrong tint, because they do like tinted mineral sunscreens too, and like
Then you're Blorange.
yeah, literally, it's like if you are like 2 shades in makeup, it works for you. Awesome. Which
Trash.
yeah, that's not cute. But chemical sunscreens, like, and especially a lot of the Asian sunscreens right now, they're killing it.
Korean skincare.
Oh yeah.
I also really like the Fenty SPF.
Oh yeah, their
It's like a-
Hydrovisor. All
Love
their
her.
products they're really good.
And then I also I'm a slut for Supergoop.
Really? Which one?
The unseen sunscreen.
So I have a good dupe for that.
Do you?
Yeah. For everyone else too. They make a pretty good dupe at Trader Joe's. It's kind of seasonal from what I know.
Okay.
But it's essentially the same thing. It's kind of like
dimethicone.
yes, it's very like clear. It's got that kind of texture to it. It's almost primer like.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we
People
like
who
her.
wear makeup, yeah, really like it.
Love.
And it's like $9 a bottle. It's like sold out all last summer. It was really, really good. Got really good reviews from a lot of
Run to
influencers.
Trader Joe's,
Yes.
girls.
Walk, don't run. Yeah.
You mean run, don't walk?
That's
that.
what. That's what. That's what. That's what
That's
he
the
meant.
one.
That's the one. All right, y'all. Well, we are gonna take a little dancey dance break, and you know the drill. You gotta move your body to move energy. See you in a sec. And we're back. All right, before we get into questions, I wanted to share a tidbit that I found while researching for our previous episode, Dark Goose. I forgot to share it last week, and if I'm being honest, this is my true hyperfixation. I've been screaming about this for the last 2 weeks, and I finally got to talk to Barb about it yesterday, my therapist. It was very
We
exciting.
love Barb.
We love Barb, but I think this explains a lot about our boomer ass parents. So let me break it down. Okay, so one of the earliest uses of the term psychological trauma was by a psychoanalyst named Sandor Ferenczi in like the 1920s. He used it to describe the emotional aftermath of children that had been essayed, which is like so ahead of their time. Love that.
Yeah.
But in the years that followed, other psychologists and psychiatrists like began to study and like tinker. But the terminology and the use of it kind of petered out for like 30 years. And it wasn't until 1952, which was the first edition of the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, was published. Okay, so now we're in 1952. Psychological trauma has been published and actively is a recognized term, but that's it. Now, nothing really happens with that information. Now, fast forward, 1979, 1980, Vietnam vets are just getting back, and those bitches are down bad. We don't have time to talk about it, but it's fucked, and Google it if you don't know.
You want to talk trauma.
Yeah, for real. So then they're like, oh, so PTSD does exist. But this took psychologists until the year 1980 for it to be like, okay, this is a term that's being used.
Yeah.
Meaning, for all of us out there, there's still 2 to 3 generations floating around of people that don't fucking believe in trauma or have acknowledged what has happened to them is trauma. So they, of course, our parents don't understand what PTSD is. They don't have the capacity to, because they were already in their 20s or 30s when the term was even starting to finally be universally used.
Right.
So for me, this was a big aha moment.
Yeah.
So if you're like, wow, my parents really don't fucking get it, I hope this resonates.
Yeah, it's kind of like when what they say about addicts. It's like the first step is admitting you have a problem. If you can't identify the problem, you can't admit that you have it.
Right.
And then you can't work on it.
Correct.
So yeah, if you don't have that skill set of being able to like analyze your life or how you digest your life, then yeah, you can't deal with trauma or even recognize trauma.
So I just thought that was interesting, and I have been telling everyone that will listen really about that.
Yeah.
Well, thank God you have a podcast.
I know, right?
Now you have a literal
Sound the
microphone
alarm.
to put it in.
The literal microphone to tell all of you.
It lives on in perpetuity throughout
Amen.
the universe.
All right. Well, if you boys don't have anything else to add to that, let's get into questions.
I think I'm ready for some questions.
All right.
I love some questions.
All right, Matthew, give me 3 words to describe your childhood.
Ooh, okay. 3 words to describe my childhood. Ooh, the word game is always hard for me. I'm like a wordy person.
I love wordy.
So 3 words. Okay.
If you need more words, you can give me more words.
If you're counting, this was more than 3.
I already suck at this game. So fun definitely being one. I think my mom and my dad definitely encouraged me to kind of explore random things that I wanted to explore. They knew that I had severe ADHD as a kid and was like just a hyper case. So my parents knew they weren't going to calm me down. So they just kind of like gave me ways and to explore that and things to do with that. So I got to have a lot of fun. I got to have kind of a lot of freedom. I look back on like photos of myself and I get to see myself in like skirts and like my sister's heels and stuff. I know I'm like my older gay self makes me really happy because I think we might get to this later, even though my dad doesn't really necessarily vibe with that. My mom definitely like encouraged it. And I still knew that it was safe to like just have fun, as long as I was having fun, they were fine. So fun, memorable. I have a lot of concrete memories. I have a lot of like really good memories. I have a lot of really, I do have a lot of trauma as well. But I've been able to like navigate that and work through a lot of it. So it doesn't haunt me. It doesn't like those memories it's not like a ghost. I'm able to like enjoy them and take them for what they for what they were. And another one to explain my childhood. Gosh, what a good question. Um, I would, I'm looking for a word that describes different, because I lived kind of lived two different lives in a sense. My parents split when I was really young. Um, so I lived with a single mother in, so to speak, in one life, and in another life I lived with my father. And as you can imagine, like I said, my father didn't vibe with certain things and my mom did. They were very different people. um so it kind of felt like at times I was living two different lives, even though maybe some people would have seen that as a bad thing. I, for whatever reason, I took it as a blessing because I was able to like explore who I was in a more free way with my mom and like be really nurtured in an emotional way. And then with my dad, he gave us like incredible experiences. He did a lot of really cool things with us as a kid, and taught us a lot, and really like instilled a lot of himself into us. So it was kind of like I was being formed by two different experiences that created one experience,
Matthew.
if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
that created
that
Matthew.
created me. Yeah, for sure.
That was really cool. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah, that was
sharing
beautiful.
all that. Yeah.
That was a lot, of course.
I like how you could have just said like pulled a Christian and been like fun, this and that, and then that's your answer. What did he answer? Like nice,
Nice.
kind.
Fun.
We
They-
love you,
we
Susanna.
love you, Christian. And to be fair, he did drag himself about nice.
Yes. No, just
Okay.
giving everybody shit.
That's a sign of a family. If you're not throwing shade, you're not family.
True.
That's absolutely factual information. You're from California, right?
I am.
How long have you lived in Seattle?
Yeah. I moved to Seattle in 2017. So I've been here, this summer will be 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fairly recent.
Yeah, it still is kind of recent actually. Although I am I am now feeling like a Seattleite. I think I also just recently moved to this like really nice spot that
How
I
is the
can
new
see.
place?
It's really awesome. It's been a work in progress because like it's I've I've always like worked for everything that I've had. I mean I think we all do, right? But it's, it's kind of taken me a while to work up the ladder. And this is like an apartment that I'm really really proud of. It feels like I have a view of the city, and it feels like I live in a city. I tell myself all the time, like baby Matthew would be so proud of
Aw.
me, or I would be, vice versa.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
like this is what I've always wanted. I've always imagined myself like in a city, being a young, like,
Mm.
artist, or being a young creator, just trying to make it happen, I guess. And this is exactly what that looks like. So it's really cool. Yeah.
So proud of you.
Thanks.
We'll have to come over.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's definitely host worthy too.
Hell yeah. Capitol Hill?
Yeah,
Okay.
Capitol Hill. Yeah, yeah. So it's been a really cool journey. I moved to Renton when I first got here, lived there for a little bit. Met my partner Caleb about 8 months into living here. It was pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah, and then everything all just happened so quick, as anyone who knows a Gemini knows. We're an air sign, so the wind blew and I went with it, and he is too. So it was very much like,
He's
just
also a
wispy.
Gemini.
yeah, he
Oh,
is.
Jesus.
I know, 2 Geminis in one house. It's awesome. But we just like, I don't know, we just kind of rolled with it, and I've been here for 6 years now. I would say like I now take up space in Seattle a little bit. I'm like, a working bartender at an up and coming venue. It's
Fuck
like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm like able to reflect and be like, damn, I've settled in here. I've got some roots going here.
Fuck yeah.
It's cool.
What is your favorite non-physical compliment you've ever received?
Ooh, non-physical compliment. Um, I like when people notice how thoughtful I am. Um, I'm a pretty intentional person. I like to be observant, and I like to think before I act. Of course, I'm subject to the human condition. So, things happen. But I try and be really intentional, and I try and be really present and really observant and mindful of things like that. And I love when people tap into that in a really natural way, and they can like complement that. That to me is like someone is tapping into an energy, not just physically, but below that surface. And that excites me. That tells me that somebody's like, their wheels are turning and that's hot. I like that.
That was a good question.
Thank you. Have you ever been to therapy, or are you currently in therapy?
I'm not currently in therapy, unfortunately. I have been, it's funny, I've been in therapy actually my whole life. When I was really young, like I said, my parents split early, and for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, for a great reason, um, I guess it was probably both my parents, my dad more so like religious therapy through like church and stuff like that. My mom though, she really she encouraged like even I mean it's kind of crazy thinking about how we were so young and talking to therapists. Um I remember having multiple therapists. I had a speech therapist because I had like a little speech impediment when I was young.
Matthew.
I know I couldn't say my R's and S's.
So cute.
Still kind of have
O's and
a
S's?
yes,
Aww.
yeah. I know it's so bad. And I still
That's
kind
so
of fuck
cute.
up my S's sometimes.
What is so
Um,
cute?
uh, so I had a speech therapist. I had like a behavioral therapist for ADHD, and
Relatable.
yeah, my my mom and my parents definitely. I say my mom first because I think she was a little bit more like emotionally attached to it, or my dad was probably a little bit more like clinical about it, or religious. Well, um, but she really encouraged us to just talk to people about things in a safe way, of course. So yeah, when I was young, I've had many therapists over the years. When I was a teenager, I had a therapist to deal with like different traumas that I had not dealt with, and then I've had in my adult years, I've had two different therapists as well. Um, so yeah, my most recent bout with therapy was, I'd say, probably like halfway through my Saturn return, which is very real.
Mm.
Uh, and it really put me back on course. It got me through the rest of my Saturn return and really helped me like hone in on my tools that I knew I had and that I had been working on my whole life, but she really like helped me get all that together. So yeah, I love therapy. I tell everybody that like they should be proud to be a part of it. They should be proud to be investing in themselves in that way. And I will probably be in therapy for my whole life.
Same.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that like I was telling somebody really close to me recently who's thinking about it. They it's a big hill to climb, not just like getting coverage or paying for it or, getting to the resource, but showing up for yourself is a lot. And knowing that you're going to have to deal with things is a lot. So I always tell everybody, a lot of the work that happens in therapy is getting yourself into that room. That's work. That's valid work. That it takes a lot to get into that room. And once you're in that room, you can start to flow in that space and really start to see things happen.
Yeah. Assuming y'all vibe.
Cool.
Right.
It takes it sometimes you'll know
Yeah.
pretty quickly
Yeah.
if you're with your person or not.
I was actually just talking about my most recent therapist last night after watching the show Beef, which is kind of it touches a little bit, on mental health and how we deal with things. But I was talking about how I actually really appreciate about her that she was really good about being, having boundaries within like the client therapist relationship. So there was a good boundary for sure, but she also was not, she how do I say it? She did not care. She was present. She like was listening. She shared things that were relevant at times about her life. You know, she was able to say things like, you know, I mean, I don't know. We all question those things sometimes, including herself in those things, you know, humanizing herself, you know, acknowledging the human experience. It's important to vibe with someone and for that person to be a human. You know, we all have the human experience. And we're all here to learn how to make it better.
Absolutely. You've mentioned before that you're sober.
Yeah.
How long have you been sober, and what led you to choose sobriety?
Yeah. Sobriety was kind of a funny thing for me. I drank probably starting when I was like 15, because I'm from a small town in California in the Central Valley. You know, there's not a whole lot to do out there. You smoke weed and party when you're in high school. And like, you know, I was kind of nerdy and gay and just wanted to fit in, you know, so there was a lot of layers to what I was doing. But yeah, I was a party kid for a long time. And like very outgoing, you know, I'm a pretty outgoing person too, socially. So I partied pretty hard for a while. And when I moved to Seattle, I didn't know anybody here, literally not one person at all. So I came here and I started going out, and it was just kind of different. I didn't have, you know, I think people use alcohol as a way to like identify with other people in a space, but it didn't feel that way for me. It just kind of felt like I was drinking alone. And so I just kept going out anyway and meeting people and stuff like that. And I ended up meeting Caleb.
Where'd you guys meet?
We met on Grindr,
Oh,
of
beautiful.
course, right?
Beautiful.
Big surprise. But we met our very first time, like socially, I should say, not hooking up or whatever, but socially, like around a lot of people. We spent time together at their very first Halloween party in 2017. Yeah. And, you know, had a great time, was partying. We did 2 more events, and I think we both ended up for our New Year's resolution. We were like, hey, you know, we're going to get sober. Why not? You know, we'll just try it, kind of do a cleanse thing. Pretty common. And literally have not drank since. It kind of just happened to me. I stopped drinking and everything just clicked. I realized that I didn't like drinking at all. I was just socially awkward and nervous, and, you know, was trying to use that as a way to get to know people, and was just using it as a way to pass time also, you know, and do something. But yeah, I started to like go out socially, sober, and I was like, oh shit, this is so much more fun. I'm like, because I'm a really silly person. I'm just really goofy. I can be kind of nervous in social settings, as we all can be. But I'm just such a goober, really.
That's
And
a perfect way to describe you.
I really am. And so when I stopped drinking, that like silliness came back, and that ability to like not take myself so seriously came back. And I was like, okay, I fucking vibe with this. It feels a lot better for me. And so now it's been 5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, I smoke a lot of weed. I'll say that. I do smoke a lot of weed. But yeah, I have not been drinking for 5 years. It's been really, really good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I drink a little, but I stopped doing shots like a year ago.
Oh my gosh, that makes a big difference when you're going out, not just in like how you feel the next day, but money. It's fucking expensive.
Well, and I'm also just the worst version of myself.
Yeah.
What's funny is like I hate
I get
drinking like a whole drink. I'd rather just take a shot and
really?
pace that out over the course of the evening.
That's funny.
I've considerably cut down my alcohol intake this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I drank last weekend and I fucking regretted it. And I was like, I knew I didn't want to do this. Like, but in my defense, like I was like, this is my third Taylor Swift night. I think I need a drink or two to get on board with this.
Yeah.
Ironically, I've literally been listening to T Swift. You can ask Austin, like for the last like 3 days.
He sent me videos.
Nonstop. Like, oh my God, I even put All Too Well on in the shower. I'm like, who the fuck am I right now?
Oh,
That's another obsession this week's obsession for you.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Hyperfixation is T Swift, indeed.
Another one.
Oh,
Lost
man.
another one.
You know, that's funny though, actually. I mean, it's good that you have self-control to like just take shots though, because most people when they're just doing shots, it's
Goblin
over.
mode.
It's over. It's so hard. You know what I mean? Because they just go
Unfortunately, I
down.
can handle it pretty well.
I mean,
yeah.
that's baller. It's funny though, as like a bartender, I have to like ride that line. So finally, I'm like, people always ask me like, oh, what's your favorite drink or what do you get? And I'm at the bar. I'm not going to tell them that I don't drink, you know? So I'm like, I don't know. What do you like? So I always am like, what do you like? And then I end up making them something and they're like addicted to it all night. They're like, oh my God, how did you like that? They come to find out that I don't drink and they're like, wow, this is like even better. It's really funny actually. Like the whole not drinking and serving alcohol to people. It's
that
fun.
is crazy.
It's fun
even,
actually.
Until you just said that, it did not dawn on me.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things that like I didn't know what I was going to do sober in those spaces. So I was like, oh, I can like serve the alcohol.
Make drinks. It's something to do. And
Yeah.
DJing is also very similar in that way. It's like I have something to do at the party.
Yes.
And stuff, because otherwise I
Yes.
definitely fell into a similar, I don't want to call it a trap, but a trap
Right.
of like, you know, ultimately I was struggling socially, and my way to cope with that was to go and play music at parties.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't enjoying drinking. I also felt like I was drinking alone in some ways. But then, I mean, I definitely would drink when I DJ'd, but still it gave me a purpose. It made me feel like I, you know, had something to contribute to this party that was so big. You know what I mean? I feel like when I was in high school, it was like you would corner a few people and you would find your little circle at that high school party. And partying in high school is nothing like partying in college and then nightlife and all that stuff.
And it's so different because we're both in production too. So like a lot of people that aren't in production don't know. It can be really hard to balance that in production, like drinking. You know, like people in production, it can be a lot, you know, when you work in nightlife. Yeah. It's a balance that some people have to work on even more so. So yeah,
well, it's
you gotta
like,
be careful sometimes.
because I remember first couple of times at Supernova, I was so nervous, like having a few drinks like before
and the space
that
is so like
was perfect. And it does heighten your senses in ways, helps you connect sometimes. It's just such a fine line. And especially when you're doing it like a lot, that's where that line is easier and easier to blur.
Because it's meant to just be all in good fun, right? You know, and that's why I like doing it at a bar. It's like, we're all just here to have a good time. You know, it's all fun. But yeah, you know when it's gone too far, and that's when like
there was a night I
into
drank
mental health.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, there was one night I remember. I think it was like night 2 or 3 at Supernova where I drank way too much while I was playing, and I felt so guilty for like 2 weeks about it. I was just like beside myself because I was so ashamed at like, you know, and in hindsight I probably didn't even play that bad, but like in my head I was really disappointed in myself.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's like, but there are nights where I'll have like just 1 or 2 and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did. Like it made the whole thing just loosen me up. I had so much more fun, like, you know. Yeah. But I wanted to mention that Matthew was there the first night I ever played at Supernova. And he was so my first production person there. And we were so in sync. Yeah. That's back when I used to work as like the stage manager. I mean, I do many different things for production in general. So I used to like help the stage productions at Supernova. And yeah, I remember that really well. That was a lot of fun. And we definitely knew that night. We were like, oh, we're keeping him. Yay. That was fun. Yeah, I missed that actually. I got to do that. I got to do that again recently for our ABBA party.
I know. We were there.
I saw that and I commented. I was like, "Matthew's our production."
Yeah, it was fun.
But that means you were there for Austin's first show too.
That's
yes.
right.
And mine. How cute is that?
Oh, I will usher all the Orion team into
Supernova.
That's so cute.
I love that.
I love that.
Pod
too.
moments.
Pod moments.
Rainier, no.
Man.
Baby.
This is my favorite dog of the house, though.
It's fair. She's kind of everybody's favorite dog in the house. We love you, Ranger.
Yeah, we love you, Ranger, but this one likes to
Rainier
cuddle.
is the
so,
snuggliest little baby.
We love a snuggle bug.
Okay, so I know you're like diagnosed ADHD. Do you have any other diagnosed neurodivergencies?
No, I don't. I would say, I like to think of myself as just like, I mean, I've kind of said it already. I just call myself like suffering from the human condition.
I love that.
You know, I think that we can all kind of chalk it up to that in one way or another. We're all just human, you know, and we're all just doing our best, and we all have a different hand, so to speak, that we're dealt. So it's just about like figuring out how to play your cards,
Yeah.
you know. And I have been really blessed to have some of those resources really young, have like family and people around me who have empowered that in ways, you know, while like, you know, I've gone through some things for sure on certain sides of my family, but I've also had a really, really big support system. So I've been able to manage those things and like navigate, really well, I guess.
You medicated?
I did medicate for many years. I took all the things, Ritalin, Adderall, Strattera.
You tried Strattera?
Yeah.
I tried that one
one's
too.
We're all former Strattera
really?
users. That's a rare bunch.
Really?
Not a lot
Yeah.
of people are on Strattera. That drug is nuts.
It was,
That was the orange triangle, right?
Mine was a pill. I was only on it for like a couple months, but that shit
Yeah.
made me feel weirder than anything
Yeah.
I've ever been through in my life.
I think Ritalin was the orange one. So
Yeah.
I think Strattera, from my memory, it could very much be wrong.
It is a
'cause it's all very blurry.
norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. So it's
Yeah.
like an SSRI, but it acts on a different neurotransmitter, and it completely changes your
Yeah.
brain chemistry.
Yeah,
It's
I remember
wild.
my mom was like, you know, she was trying different things because, you know, when you're a
That's
mom and you're
Oh,
yeah.
it was an orange
Yeah.
guy.
Yes, yeah, I remember mine
Oh,
being
that's
blue.
funny. Mine were blue
Yeah, I
and
remember
yellow
blue.
or something, or blue and white. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we tried some things, and she's like, I think you were on it for a week, and I was like, fuck that.
It was like
My kid
that
is medicated,
episode
and that's
of
not cool.
yeah, like obviously medicated.
Yeah.
Like it's that episode of South Park where the kids take the
Yeah.
ADD medication
Oh my
and they
gosh.
all turn like that's the drug they take. It's
Yeah.
not Adderall. It's,
Yeah.
it's fucking Strattera.
I don't remember what drug it was, but I took this.
That, my friend, is an orange
Oh.
Tesla.
That's a-
That is ecstasy.
That
my
is
friend.
a pressed pill, my love.
I don't think my mom
I
was
know
giving
those
me
well.
ecstasy.
Oh god.
Grace?
Although that is a form of therapy now.
What, Molly? Yeah,
Yes.
no, absolutely. I would
I'm not against
die,
it.
not die, sorry. I would love to take like medical MDMA therapy, like done by a professional
Yeah.
with a
That's a thing.
professional
Yeah,
dose
yeah.
and guidance. And because I find that drug to be one of the most therapeutic I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's-
Mom, I just admitted that. On the no,
Before
I
you
think-
know it, I mean, they'll be prescribing it to her.
Dexedrine?
Dexedrine. Oh, damn. That's a
Used in treatment with ADHD, narcolepsy, and belongs to a
Oh.
drug class of CNS stimulants.
Huh.
wow.
I never took that one.
So
Yeah, that's
fuck you
interesting.
both.
I don't think
It
I've
is
heard of it
real.
either.
I
don't
was
think
like, I'm not crazy.
they had you trying some things.
Oh yeah, they started me on meds in third grade, second
Yeah.
grade, third
Yeah,
grade.
that's usually right when like kids get pretty like hyperactive or just more active in general.
They were like, "You're the worst case we've ever seen in a female."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm different. I'm built different. I'm worse."
yeah. You're like, what? I'm extra fabulous.
I got kicked out of. I told Dave this a couple weeks ago. I got kicked out of ballet. As a first grader because I just wanted to do leaps across the back.
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to
She
have
still
fun.
does them.
Yeah, I
at
just want.
Supernova.
Oh.
I just wanted to dance and have fun, and they were like, "Not here."
Oh, you know what it really was? they didn't have an advanced class yet.
Ah.
They were like, oh my gosh, she's going to make all these others
Yeah.
like students jealous with her leaps
Yeah.
and her frolics.
No, they were.
And we can't have that
We
because
can't
all
have
these other
that.
children suck.
No, they're
I have
like,
a question for our dear Matthew.
yes.
Do you have a theater background? Did you ever do any of that? life?
Actually, I did. So I never did any like professional theater, but I did theater as a kid growing up. I played instruments and stuff musically as well, so I have like a big musical background. But yeah, music and theater played a pretty big role, especially in my like junior high and high school years. I wasn't in any of the high school productions because I don't know, it was different. I think I wasn't like confident enough with myself to like take up that kind of space maybe. But what I did was drama class every year.
Yeah.
And I was in productions in junior high when I was more confident, but when you go into high school, it all changed for me. So I switched to like drama class in high school, and it was so much better for me. I was actually talking about this recently too. It's funny. My drama teacher, same teacher all 4 years, we developed an amazing relationship, and he had just such a unique, activated curriculum for us each year that was like progressive for the students who were still in it. And there was like, because there was 3 different levels of drama, I think. So I got to do all 3, and then I repeated. Anyway, it was really, really such a cool experience. We worked on voice stuff. We worked on acting. We worked on improv. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've had a little bit of theater experience. I think it kind of plays a part in why I'm so animated.
For sure. I
You
love
seem like
that.
a theater kid.
Yeah.
It's a compliment.
I
in
have
my
that.
book.
I have a little bit of that. I wouldn't consider myself a theater kid anymore.
Sure.
But definitely being a theater kid when I was young informed like knew me.
For sure.
Yeah.
What age do you think, or do you know that you became like your authentic self?
For me, it's actually pretty recent. It's been a long journey. I've always had a sense of self. I've always had an inner dialogue, and I've always had an outer dialogue as well, through certain resources and stuff that I talked about. But that doesn't just fix everything, right? That doesn't mean that it all makes sense.
New challenges arrive.
Right, and as we grow, yeah, exactly. So, I would say, sorry, what's the question again? I'm stoned.
What age do you think you became your authentic self?
Yeah. So I would say after high school, I came out. That was a big thing for me. I waited until after high school because I went to a really small high school, came out to my mom, and then, everybody else after that started to really, be able to explore that more. But being in the Central Valley, it felt like there wasn't a lot of queer culture. There wasn't a lot to explore at the time. So I felt like I got as far as I could. And I knew that's essentially what got me to Seattle. I knew that I had to get out of there and like challenge myself and meet myself. Because I knew that it was all just based on where I was. It was all reactionary, so to speak, rather than authentic. So yeah, I moved to Seattle. I met Caleb, and he just has such an authentic, organic, true way of like living and just being. And I saw that and I felt that, and I like started to learn from that. And then I entered my Saturn return, and then I got therapy. And so all those things right when I was like 28 to 30, really, I experienced a wild shift in my sense of self. I completely redefined who I was.
What year is Saturn return?
28. You enter your return at 28. Yeah. And then this is all hypothetical, essentially.
That's why I was like,
Yeah. So you enter around 28 and you exit around 32. The idea behind it is that Saturn realigns where it was when you were born, and a lot of other things align with where they, where they were with you when you were born. So it's a time of transition. It's a big, big transition. And I had heard about it a lot when I moved to Seattle because everybody's very into astrology here, different than it was in California. So I was like, oh, cool, that's coming. I've heard of that now several times. And then, I turned 28 and was like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely sensing something. Now that I'm like coming up, I'm going to be 32 in a couple months. I completely understand the warning that they were trying to give me. I'm like, God damn, that was intense.
Yeah. I turned 32 this year too.
Yeah. And it's crazy thinking about who you were when you were 28, huh? It's like a completely different person.
Yeah, especially you. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
You'll say that about yourself too. I know it's easy to say that when you're like 28, right?
I'm
And I said the
nervous.
same thing. No, it's
You're going to get better.
It's fabulous.
How is that possible?
I'm
just kidding.
Good point.
Gotcha.
No, it's fabulous. It's, I think working on oneself can be messy, but like, don't be afraid of that at all. That's good. It's a good mess to be in, right? Because on the other side of it, you find yourself.
I have been like struggling creatively for some reason, like lately. I don't know what's going on.
It's going to start happening.
Regard.
I shouldn't say it's going to start happening, but you'll notice that like things are shifting.
Interesting.
And it's normal.
Cool.
It happens.
That's okay. This is so wild that we're talking about this. Because since the pandemic, I have had this huge fucking shift in who I am as a person.
I think everybody, obviously.
Yeah, it changed all of us forever, of course. But like for me, I'm a hairdresser. I've been doing this since I was 17. I turned 32 this year. I spent my entire youth and 20s building my career. So that was my entire fucking personality.
Yeah.
So then they said, you can't go to work. And I went, I don't know who I am.
Dude. I had a fucking identity crisis.
We both did.
If I'm not DJing, who am I?
We kind of, but thank God we have each other. We went through this together because we're both like, we can't perform.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you? And I'm like, that's a great question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's like, and I've said this before to like young DJs who are like, like, what can I do to like, further this? I'm like, honestly, in a way, you kind of have to make it your identity in some ways to really commit to that, figure out your brand and like shape that, mold it and shamelessly tell people about it, because if you want to be successful at it, you have to shamelessly tell people what you're selling. Yeah. And in this world, that's ourselves, right? So like, I've definitely, like, those words have come out of my mouth. I'm like, it should be a part of your identity, but there becomes a point where you have to reconnect with, yourself.
Yeah.
And realize what that means now that like, well, this is who you've been for a while. Who do you want to be still?
Or you just realize how layered your identity really is and what you're presenting within that identity at certain times.
Yeah. I said this to David. I don't even know. I might have been sober, but I meant it regardless of my state of being.
Sometimes I mean it more when you're fucked up.
I know. But I hugged you and I was like, you introduced me to the parts of my life I didn't even know I was missing.
Yeah.
I knew you meant it.
Gays will do that too.
Well, I've surrounded myself around homos always.
A true ally. Seriously though.
Well, a member of the community now.
Well, duh.
Yeah,
I mean, duh. If it's not screaming at me, like, duh.
If you don't know, then that's on you. I mean, come on. At this point. You've met me. And I mean, just as much as I think women are just the tits, literally.
Literally, figuratively.
I embody the personality of a gay man.
I
absolutely
love that.
And so I think my whole life I've just always gravitated toward, look around a room. I see someone who I sniff out as one of us, and I go talk to him.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I roll. Yeah. And in high school, there weren't that many gays at Eastlake, but up on the plateau. But the ones that were knew they were safe with me. And
you knew how to find them because you knew you were one of them.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I remember this one kid, Brian, we went to high school with. Everyone was so fucking mean to Brian, and he was just a joy. I still think he's wonderful. I think
Well, why do you think we all stayed in the closet for so fucking long?
Everyone's
We
a
saw how they
fucking-
talked about the only kids we knew about. Like,
Right?
you know?
But
I
always
could go
stuck
on
up,
that one.
I always stuck up for Brian because I love Brian, and he had a bossy little biscuit company for dogs, and so he was
that's
in
cute.
with all the teachers because you know what single teachers have dogs,
Duh.
cats,
Yeah.
many
Sell, baby,
animals.
sell.
Yeah, so and he bought himself his like first car, and I was like, you guys
That's
are
fab.
just
We love
little
it.
bitch haters. Fuck you. We love you, Brian. We love you, Brian.
Period.
Um,
Period.
But yeah.
Did he come out in high school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See,
Did he like go to homecoming
That's
with a dude?
awesome.
No, of course not.
See, that, I remember like my friend going to homecoming with a guy, and I thought that was like, this is crazy.
That is
That's so cool.
like good in
Good
a
for
great
him.
way.
Good
Yeah.
for
Totally.
Shout
him.
out Zach Aaron. You the fucking
love
man.
that.
Yeah. I love
I wish
that.
I could have seen that growing up. That would have been so. It just would have changed everything.
Yeah, we had one kid, Ryan Conover. He was so out and so proud, and he
Oh.
wore his UGG boots, and he got his spray tans, and he straightened his hair,
Stop.
and he had his frosted tips. And
Oh
then
my God! Did he
he-
wear like Hollister?
Yes,
Yeah.
he was everything,
Yeah,
and he's
right.
still
Yeah.
everything. He is
Classic.
like a beautiful, like
Are they a performer?
editorial,
Model. Yeah.
editorial model.
Yep. I've seen them on Instagram.
Gorgeous girl. We love you, Ryan.
Giving face.
Yeah, and yes, giving face.
Wait,
and
wait. Ryan who?
Conover.
Okay, I'll look this up.
He's beautiful.
Got it.
Yeah.
But he got commissioned to like redesign Barbies, and he was like on the news. It was like an evening magazine
Like-
thing. Barbies.
Like Mattel Barbies.
Yeah, like he would put them in like eleganza
Oh, bitch.
and then like window displays.
Stop.
And I remember people were
That's so
clowning on
cool.
him, and it's like, fuck you. You haven't done anything like this. And I'm sorry, can your little thimble fingers do what he can do?
Seriously, go kick a fucking ball, dumbass.
Yeah, that's what you're good at. Have fun with your latex balls in the field, dirt boy.
No
Hey,
shame in kicking
hey.
a ball. I played lots of
you're,
sports,
you're
but
a puck.
still.
You're a puck girl. Stop it. You're on ice.
I
It's
am on
neat.
ice. It's pretty gay.
It is
No,
pretty
just
gay.
kidding.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so-
sports are pretty gay.
So
be real.
true. Can we have
Wrestling?
a whole podcast episode?
Wrestling?
Wrestling is
If
gay.
you've ever played water
Time
polo,
out. I have
also
a s-
you know, bitch. I played water
Facts.
polo. Oh yeah.
I did play water
know.
polo. I do know.
Oh, yeah, then you know.
Speedos.
Eh.
Also, can we rewind so I can remember what did you say? Shoot.
I am who my life thing. That thing.
No. It was like it was like 2 sentences ago. Barbies forward.
Kicking a ball, soccer, sports.
Almost there. You had like one more.
We're talking about hockey is on ice.
God, it's gone. It might come
Shit.
back.
It'll come back. If
Yeah,
it's
it'll
important,
come
it'll
back.
come
If
back.
it's- Yes.
It's important. It'll come back. Yeah.
So we are about to get to an hour. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have a second part,
Yeah.
a part 2.
Yeah.
So
Why not?
the part 2, 1, 2, 3, 3. Love you, Claire. So we'll just, say not goodbye, but see you in a moment. And then we will start with another question.
Oh, sure. Do you want me to bump out? Why don't you ask one more question?
Okay.
I'll bump out, and then we can have our listeners come back to another fine episode of The Coco Show.
Okay. Okay. What is your favorite mantra for when you're feeling down?
Ooh.
Like something you say to yourself.
Yeah. I kind of find new ones all the time. Or I just will say something that is meaningful in that moment
Sure.
or that pertains to that moment. But one thing I have started saying probably a couple years ago when I was introduced to Drag Race, of course, everybody's going to know what's coming now, is Jinx's wonderful line, water off a duck's back. I think it's just such a simple way of saying that, girl, you got to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to let it go,
I love that.
Yeah.
Great advice.
So you weren't going to say, because you have to end the episode, Coco.
Oh, do I?
It
mean,
is the
sort
Coco
of.
Show.
All right. Well, you guys know the drill. Please email your you fucking haws to the Coco Show pod at gmail.com. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday.
That works.
Yep. You don't get a whole one.